Before this conversation, I was reading about you. And मुझे लगा कि आपके बारे में मुझे ज़्यादातर मालूम है. And I was surprised to find a story I did not know. And that story was that when you were a small child, your father gave you the name Salim. And one of your sisters is still called colloquially घर पे, not officially Najma. Am I right?
Yeah, part of the story is right.
इसके पीछे क्या कहानी है? I know कि आपको शायद बहुत बारी पूछा होगा, लेकिन अभी भी बहुत से लोग नहीं जानते.
सच ये है कि अब मैं थोड़ा सा, such is the power of social media trolling that I've started now feeling almost awkward about this.
But question. You should not. It's your life.
If anything, there's something to feel proud of. But this is the strange thing. Just last night, one of my cousins sent me a WhatsApp. He's in Bits Pilani group. So he was from Bits Pilani. And he said, look, this was coming on my WhatsApp group.
कि योगेंद्र यादव का नाम सलीम है.
नहीं
कि
बंदा है सलीम, इसने झूठे से लोगों को मुसलमान सलीम है, इसने छुपाने के लिए अपना नाम योगेंद्र यादव किया है. इट इज लाइक यूसुफ खान कॉलिंग हिमसेल्फ दिलीप कुमार. दिस वाज ऑन द व्हाट्सएप ग्रुप ऑफ बिट्स पिलानी. सो इस चीज़ों से अब मेरे को थोड़ा वो लगने लगा. द स्टोरी इज वेरी सिंपल. आई हैव टोल्ड इट सेवरल टाइम्स.
पर आपको लगना नहीं चाहिए बिफोर यू टेल द स्टोरी. ये आपकी जिंदगी है. आप अपने जिंदगी के कुछ हिस्से लोगों के सामने ना रखें क्योंकि वो डिस्टॉर्ट हो सकते हैं बाय ट्रोल्स. दैट शुड नॉट बी वेयर वी आर.
मगर दैट्स वेयर वी आर इन दिस कंट्री, आरंट वी? मतलब कोई और देश होता तो इस पे शायद फिल्म बनती इस कहानी. मेरे पे नहीं. I'm an absolutely incidental character.
मुझे कहानी बहुत इंटरेस्टिंग लगी.
I'm a prop in that story. I'm nobody in that story.
Tell us the story and then we can talk about other things.
No, this is a story about my grandfather in 1939. He was in Hisar, which was then in Punjab. And this was the time of communal riots. So there was some incident that happened the day before. And allegedly some of the students from his school were involved in desecration of a mosque. So the mob, a Muslim mob, came to the school next day. My grandfather was the warden, Ram Singh ji. They came and demanded those boys. He said, no, I'm their guardian now. They said, nahi to tumhara gala kaatenge. He said, fine, let it be me. First, it has to be me first. And they actually gandase se unka sar kaat diya wahin pe.
Of your grandfather?
My grandfather, Ram Singh ji.
And your father witnessed
My father was 8-year-old. He witnessed it,
And then?
And so you would normally expect hatred for Muslims, ye, wo. But he was very deeply influenced by Gandhi ji. And he decided, so in 1952, when they married, my mother and my father, he said, bas ek baat hai, jo bacche honge na, unko Muslim naam दूंगा. So my mother accepted. What choice did she have in those days? 57, my eldest sister was born. She was named Nazma. She's not called Nazma today. She's Dr. Neelam Yadav. My mother said, वो सब ठीक है, लड़की के साथ मत करो, शादी नहीं होगी बेटी की. जब लड़का होगा ना, जो मर्जी कर लेना. So that was the compact. Then the next sister was born, Poonam. And then when I was born, I was given the name Salim. This was not my nickname. This was my name that I carried to the school.
So you were Salim Yadav?
No, just Salim.
Just Salim.
Yeah. I just, because I went to school very early. I was hardly 3.5 when I went to school with my sisters. And 1 year, a few months, I can't even say whether 1 year or few months, everyone would ask me, "Tum Salim kaise ho?" And mind you, this was a town where there was not a single Muslim family. This was Rajasthan, Ganganagar, half Punjabi, half Bagri. And they would say, "Acha, tum Salim kaise ho?" जैसे तुम राजेश हो, जैसे तुम संजय हो, वैसे मैं सलीम हूँ. And then they would say, नहीं, अपने मतलब तुम्हारे पेरेंट्स के बच्चे नहीं हो, गोद लिए हो क्या, सड़क से उठाया था क्या, नाली से उठाया था क्या. And I would come back home and say कि देखो किसी बच्चे से नाम पे सवाल नहीं पूछते, मेरे से पूछते हैं. And my father would explain, what would I understand these things? He actually took me to a mosque. And in that town, there was not a single Muslim family left after partition. So that was so haunted that I came back even more frightened. And I said, कुछ गड़बड़ है इसमें मतलब, And after a few months, I said, या तो मेरा नाम बदल दो, नहीं तो मैं स्कूल नहीं जाऊँगा. So they said, ठीक है बेटा कर लो. So पर्ची डाली. They said, तुम बताओ नाम क्या होना चाहिए. I said, ऐसे थोड़ी होता है, मम्मी पापा नाम देते हैं. So पर्ची डाल दी. It was Yogendra. So अगले दिन से मैं technically Yogendra बन गया. But the funny thing is that nothing changed. My trolling in the school stopped. I became Yogendra. But for all my friends, all my family friends, my village, my family, I was and I remain Salim.
Even today?
Till recently, yeah. Even today, if I get a call from someone says Salim, I know it's Ganganagar and someone very close to me is calling me.
Do you think of yourself as Salim or Yogendra?
We all live with so many double identities.
Different identities.
So for my parents, for my wife, for my sisters, my parents till they passed away, I was Salim. Now, the thing is that, in any other country, as I said, I'm just a prop in that story. It's not about me. It's partly about my grandfather, but more about my father. Who thought?
मैं वही पूछना चाह रही थी that normally if a child watches his father being killed by a Muslim mob, तो एक bitterness आती, एक गुस्सा आता, एक cynicism आता, and we saw this. I'm from a partition family, and I've seen some of these struggles. Why did your father find healing in giving some healing he must have found in giving his children Muslim names?
He was a very, my father he's no more now. He was a very reticent person, wouldn't speak very much. He would write, wouldn't speak very much, and certainly not speak about himself. He was kind of a saintly, kind of, non-religious, but very spiritual. So he wouldn't speak, but I think 2 or 3 things he mentioned occasionally. One, he said that, he told us that he witnessed partition violence as well. And in partition, Muslims were just butchered in my area. There's a massacre of Muslims in this Rewari Mahendragarh belt where we came from. So probably he saw the other side as well. And probably this was his way of telling himself, I would not allow hatred to conquer me. Probably it was Gandhi. He was deeply influenced by Gandhiji. Probably it was that. But yes, right till the end of his life. So it was not just that naming. In everything, in 2014, after, after 2014, just before 2019, he wrote a letter to Prime Minister and said, "Tum isko kar dena," which was to say, you are a good Prime Minister, you're doing good things for the country, it's fine, but what you're doing in Kashmir is not good. What you're doing to Muslims is not good. These are not good things for the country in the long run. Please remember, being Prime Minister is a great responsibility. So he was not this or something.
He was not. He could see shades of grey.
Yeah. He saw virtue in any opponent. In fact, I was young. I started debating, and I came back home, and he said, "Kya kiya? Debate bola tha sab. Acha kya aap batao, sunao." And twice this kind of thing happened. Once he asked me, "Acha, do you believe in what you are saying?" I said, "नहीं जी, वो टीचर ने बोला था कि इसके मोशन के अगेंस्ट में बोलना है." मैंने बोल दिया. I mean, all of us did that in the school. So he said, "I can see from your eyes that you don't believe in what you are saying. Never do that." I said, "जी, वो फिर टीम में कैसे जाऊँगा?" He said, "Don't go. It's all right. You won't win a few prizes. That's all right. Don't say what you don't believe in." And second time, which is related to what you asked earlier, he heard one of my debate things, and he said, "So you think your opponent have nothing sensible to say?" I said, No, they do have some sensible points. He said, "What are those?" I said, 1, 2, 3. He said, "But why don't you say that?" I said, I'm speaking for the motion. How can I begin by saying that, my opponents have very sensible points? He said, "But try, why not? But do you think by conceding those 3 points, your case is demolished?" I said, "No, actually, I don't think it's demolished. I think they have 3 sensible points, but they're outweighed by the following things." He said, "Why don't you say that?" that my opponents have these three sensible things, but they're outweighed by other things. Isn't that what you believe in? I said, yes. He said, just go and say that.